Hello again. The DA is gearing up for its Gauteng elective conference this weekend. Several people have put their hands up, including the incumbent leader, Msimanga, who wants to return. One of his fiercest challenges is Khume Ramulifho. In fact, he is viewed as possibly the new broom that may sweep clean in Gauteng. He's with us tonight to talk more about his campaign to become DA leader in the province. Khume, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for coming in. Last few days of campaigning, how intense is it at this point?
Good evening, and also to the viewers. Obviously, one don't want to sound arrogant, but so far so good. I've done regional tours, made contact with delegates. It's very positive, it's encouraging, and I'm very convinced that come the 12th, Khume is going to be announced as the provincial leader of the DA in Gauteng. But yeah, as you know, in politics, I need to still push until the last day. But I'm very convinced with the number of delegates and the support they're showing to me. So things are moving well. And as you know, the DA is well organized. We're going to have a spectacular Congress.
What are they telling you that makes you believe that you're their guy? Are they saying for a fact that they'll vote for you, or that you've put forward a good pitch and they will, quote unquote, strongly consider you?
No, I mean, you know, when you campaign, we categorize voters in different ways. Obviously, they are the ones which are green. That's our own color code. Green are people who are positive that we've been following you, we know you, we've made contact with you. You helped us. So those are like we definitely show. And then you have got the color red, which are those who are saying no, we're not supporting you. And then you have got the color orange, which are those who are not decided. Say no, we will look at it, we will consider it. So when you make comparison, the green is it's highly dominant.
How many say they are not supporting you?
I mean, obviously, I will talk about what we have done so far. As you said, we have not really, get to that. So I think we have about 126. That is the latest statistics which we had. Just from the campaign team. So those are the ones which are red. But we are doing very well on the other side, which is very, progressive. And the focus in the last few days, it will be those ones who are not decided. But it's just issue of reaching out. Some just saying, can we talk to you? Because I'm also working with my team, and my team will then give me feedback. And after I make contact, they said they're happy. Some of them said we've met and talked before, in different capacities, and they are convinced that they need a leader with integrity, they need a leader with experience, somebody with leadership qualities, and Khume is that leader.
Are these people mainly at the grassroots level? Do you, for example, have any big hitters in the party who are backing you, who basically are endorsing you publicly and encouraging people who perhaps have faith in them to do the same?
Yeah, they are. It's across the board. But, our primary focus was mostly looking at the ordinary delegates because these are, people who are going to drive the campaign. And even in terms of size, the ordinary delegates are double size of the public representatives. So we made them priority, but it's an inclusive campaign which is looking at everyone.
But it doesn't hurt to have a prominent leader back you. Are there any who have come forward and said they will back you? Yeah. They'll campaign on your behalf?
No, yes, they are. They are. Who are they? They're endorsing me every now and then. We've got the MPs and MPLs, Sergio Dos Santos, Luyolo Mpiti, Tamima Bena, number of councillors, MMCs, former MMCs. But as you know, in the DA, you don't endorse a candidate as a structure. You do it as an individual. And that's why we're counting. There are so many of them. Even as we speak now, our campaign team was saying we've got huge lineup of people who want to come out and endorse you, and we're saying, when do we do that? Because the time which we have is not, so long left. But we said, let's try to accommodate as much as we can. So that, because everyone wants to raise their hand. But as I said, the most important aspect from my side was, let's get to the delegates who are the drivers of our campaign on the ground. And there are so many also. And more interesting is people who have been with the DA, and get discouraged somewhere around 2019, 2021. I'm bombarded with a number of, messages to say, we want to come back. When you win, we are behind you. So that for me is a sign of a positive message which I'm gaining.
What about you makes them confident that you would do a good enough job as provincial leader that would justify them returning to the party?
No, my 25 years of experience being a member of the DA without characterized by any scandal of any sort. never brought the name of the party into disrepute or go to the disciplinary hearing and found guilty. I mean, I'm a loyal person, accessible, responsive, always available, and I'm committed to serve. Every now and then when people have got issues, they know that they can contact me, even in areas where it's not really my jurisdiction. But I will be able to, assist where I can and engage with, either public representatives. And that is about commitment to serve, and I've probably shined when it comes to that. And that is something which I expect all of our public representatives, including ordinary delegates, to say you must be accessible. And I usually tell them to say, issue of trust, it comes from a simple thing. Just membership form. When someone gives you 10 rand to say, I want to sign up as a member, make sure that you give that money to the office immediately before you get tempted and use it for something else. So that, if you can't be trusted amongst our own, community members, who's going to trust us? And as you know, in the body politics, many politicians are not trusted anymore, and that is contributing negatively in terms of, public trust. There's a huge trust deficit amongst political parties. And we see with the turnout, why we've got the number of coalition parties, because very few people are participating in elections of general nature, and we want to try to restore that confidence that not all of us are the same. There are people who are committed to serve, and these are people who can put in trust and say, here we are, let's see whether they're committed to serve us. Are they having any, credibility issues or integrity issues? And I'm saying I want to lead and champion that and invite many South Africans who are loyal to serve and committed to abide by the country's constitution to say, here we are.
The problem, though, with, shall we say, a blemish-free track record or being someone who's worked without scandal is that it seldom builds a profile at the level of people who are in the news, even if it's for the wrong reasons. The person you're contesting, Msimanga, was mayor of Tshwane. His name has been linked to various issues, as some would say scandals, linked to his time as mayor of Tshwane and various other issues outside of that role, right? But as a result of that, he's got a big public profile because of the good and the bad. How do you counter that?
No, I'm authentic. It's me. You get what you see. It's not someone who tells you and do something different. I might have been spending a lot of time in the background, but even my profile is out there. I led the DA youth. I led the biggest region of the DA in South Africa, which is Gauteng South, which tend to be, Johannesburg, because we split the Vaal and the Johannesburg region. And I led a successful campaign. And in all the elections which I was leading the party, we have tremendously improved in terms of the support. And many of our colleagues, they know that because I worked with them. And I'm someone who expects results. And when you said we're on the ground, we get on the ground together. And we don't leave someone behind who said, here is it, and this is the vision. Let's all rally behind the vision so that we succeed. So that's something which I'm committed to do, and I will be doing it come after the 12th of August, which is this weekend, because that is why I raised my hand, is to make sure that the DA succeed. So, and part of it is also to promote the DA's name as a brand, because as a leader, you need to make sure that the party's brand is protected, and its reputation is always something which people need to associate with, because there's no question about it.
Well, the DA that you want to lead has taken quite a beating in Gauteng, because in the first half of this year, you lost control of all the three major metros, Johannesburg, Tshwane, Ekurhuleni. All of that has slipped away from you. Under your leadership, how would you be able to get those back when you consider that much of the outcry around the DA's inability to successfully negotiate coalition arrangements in Gauteng has been that the orders come from the top, so the provincial leader doesn't have the final say?
It's not really the case. That's why sometimes we have misconception about the DA, that whenever decisions are taken in the DA, all provincial leaders are part of the decision making. So you need to also.
Who has the final say, though?
No, you are part of the decision making. If you are a member of federal council or federal executive, in this case, all provincial chairs, provincial leaders are members of that body. So you can't, after the decision is taken, and you claim that you're not part of that decision. So you need to advance your cause or your interest of the province, if that is what you need to negotiate. But why I'm standing, I'm also telling our delegates that let's go for an outright win, because there is possibility to do that. When you look at the number of eligible voters who are out there who have not been participating in elections, either they are not registered at all, or some have registered but they've lost interest, as I said, because of your political trust deficit. So I'm saying let's go out, because these are people we live with, we go to church with, we go to school with, we serve with them in CPFs. So what we need is to persuade them, urge them to go and register and vote for the DA. So
how
if we are
fix
committed,
the coalition's crisis, because in order to run Gauteng and make sure it becomes a success once more, you would need to run, for example, these 3 major metros. As provincial leader, if you're elected on Saturday, how would you do that?
Oh, obviously, we're going to have intergovernmental relations with them because the elections already held. So intergovernmental relation is what you need to build together with the municipalities, even when they are not, they are not part of your coalition government. But if we go for outright, that will be a sign also that come 2026, we are going to win this municipality with outright majority. That's why part of what I'm emphasizing in my campaign is that all regions matter, because we need to make sure that we provide necessary support to all the regions which you have in the province, so that we don't say these are peripheral, we don't care about them, we only focus on the metros. So that is why I'm saying let's go for a win, and that win is possible, and that commitment is here. I'm going to lead in the front, and I will rally the support from all the regions, and I'm so convinced that this is doable. And come 2024.
How do you overcome the view that the DA has been arrogant, and that's why it's lost its grip on these coalitions?
People confuse arrogancy with being principled. See, when you are principled, you don't just be swayed because someone, feels like you must do 1, 2, 3. It's when we agree, this is how we do things. If you want to make changes, you must go to the drawing board. You don't just shout or scream from a distance with a way of thinking that it's a way of convincing or putting pressure to your opponents. So whenever we talk about principle, we said, let's negotiate, let's talk about it. When we agree, we go with it. So there are people who either, when they negotiate, they are not negotiating in good faith. They want to also portray us, because you must know that when we're in coalitions, not all our opponents share the same values with us. Some, they are there to weaken us or just to criticize us.
How much is your fault? How much has been your fault as the DA?
No, I can't even recall of our own fault, because we put, our offer on the table. They said, this is us. And some, without even following any principle, they just say, get into this.
They say you didn't want to tweak your offer. The thing is,
because we've got a structure
to your positions and you didn't want to negotiate.
Because we've got a structures which we were saying that, we don't make decisions or decisions are made somewhere else. We need to go back to the structures and say, this is what we have agreed to do, but it's not working. So we always have structures where we take accountability from. So other parties, they don't have those systems. That's why we go to elections, so that when you are elected, you need to be held to account. So other parties don't have those mechanisms. You just decide now, this is the way we're going. So we encourage democracy, and we need people to participate in that. So that is how some parties might perceive us as being arrogant. It's not really that. It's that we need to follow our own processes which we have agreed, because we've got constitution which we need to adhere to. We can't just decide. As much as we do give leaders opportunities to lead, in some instances when those structures are not meeting, but after that, whenever decision is taken, we need consultation.
We're running out of time, so I'm going to move away from the issue of coalitions and come to the race itself. Whenever there's a DA leadership contest, there's a very clear distinction that's often drawn between the black and the white candidate. In this case, in Gauteng, both you and Msimanga are black men. Does that make it a more even playing ground?
Not really. You see, when people lose, they always want to find an excuse. And race in South Africa is always, one thing which people incite. So for me, contest is contest. It's a contest of ideas. You need to sell yourself based on, it's either your attitude, your behavior, how you relate to people, and whether what you're offering people can relate to. Like, as I said, when I say I'm banking much on the ordinary delegates, because I care about them, and not just to talk about it. There are something which I've done to improve their decision-making process in the party. For example, before, it was only 2% of non-public representatives who used to take part in the DA congresses. And I made amendments which was unanimously agreed by the Congress from 2% to 45%. So when I talk about supporting delegates who are from the branches, it's something which they will be able to relate to. And I'm a person who always ensure that we must follow our own rules, because we are a part of rule of law. Every now and then we must make sure that we safeguard ourselves, and whenever we want to get out of the focus, we just need to consult and say, what our principles say, what is our constitution saying, and we always get guidance from that.
Khume Ramulifho, good to speak to you. One of 2 candidates running to lead the DA in Gauteng, the other is Msimanga.